as you can tell from my title, I'm going to be doing a drugstore starter kit. Now, I would have loved something like this when I first started using makeup, like when I was probably in year 10, year 11, especially when I had my year 11 prom. Like literally, I wish I had the knowledge I have now. But I'm going to give you a few of what I would class as my starter kit, especially if I told my younger self now what kind of things to include in my starter kit. So I'm going to go in base order. So starting off with a primer. Now I would totally recommend myself a primer, especially now I know a lot more about my face and about like makeup and skincare and the way like my actual skin reacts. So I would recommend the Magique Base Pure Light Primer from Loreal. Now this guy is literally amazing. I think I haven't got that much left, but it adds a lovely glow to the skin, and it's not too wet and it's not too drying, that it glides onto the face and leaves it kind of nice and smooth with this glow to it. So I absolutely love this one, and I would definitely recommend this being in my starter kit if I told my younger self. It's so far the only primer that I actually love. Next, obviously, a big one, foundation. Now, I don't know about you guys, but my younger self was full of blemishes and acne, and well, I still suffer it from it today. So obviously I really need a full coverage foundation. So I've tried a load of foundations at high coverage, especially drugstore, and I found some of them work, some of them don't, and some of them make me break out. But the one that I think has proven to work has been the L'Oreal Infallible 24-hour Stay Fresh foundation. Now this doesn't have a huge shade range, but I found it in my shade, so that's why I'm using it in my drugstore starter kit today. I found that it works amazingly. You don't need brushes, you can use your hands if you want to. It gives you that flawless base, covers up any blemishes and redness, and really like helps give you that little bit more confidence because you're completely covered. So I would definitely recommend this one. Next, a concealer. It's going to be no surprise because I use this on a daily basis anyway, and it's the Complexion Lasting Perfection Concealer. Now this is a cult classic, and I have to get so many of these because I run out of them within like about 3 months. This is amazing. It's literally high coverage, really super blendable. It's not hard working on the skin. You don't put it on and then when you blend it out it smears the foundation underneath. So it is a really good. They do only have 3 shade ranges, which is fair, medium and dark, and dark isn't the darkest it could be. So if you are really dark skinned, probably not the best concealer for you, but if you want a concealer that covers up your blemishes, so especially for your more fair and tan skinned, you can get one that matches your shade. If you want to go a shade lighter for under eye concealing or brightening, then you can. It's just such a durable product. I use it all the time to cover up blemishes because the fairest shade actually matches my skin tone so well, so I absolutely love it. Next, to kind of mattify all of this down, because I'm an oily skinned person, and when you're starting out in makeup, most of the time you want something that lasts and you don't want it to look too obvious or too shiny or slippy. So I always go for a powder, and my favourite one in the drugstore that is more affordable than others. This isn't my like all-time favourite because I feel that my all-time favourite, as much as it is drugstore, it's still really expensive. I believe it's like $9.99, which is quite expensive, whereas this one, which is my second favourite, is only $4.99 or $3.99, and that is the Rimmel Clear Complexion Clarifying Powder. Now this, especially if you've got blemishes, is great, especially if you decide to go for more of a BB cream rather than a foundation. But I feel like for a starter kit, this would be my overall thing. But it's great to help fight blemishes, and I love it. The powder is much more finer, so this is a mineral powder, whereas the Stay Matte is just a normal powder, which feels more chalky when compared to this one. So I absolutely love this one. So that's why it's in my starter kit, and I would highly recommend it, especially when you've got blemishes and you do only want to wear BB powder. It's just perfect, and I use it all the time during holidays, because when you're at the pool and that, you don't really want anything thick, and I just absolutely love that one, especially like during the day and that. Now, before I do any contouring and highlighting, I always do my brows. It seems that as we're getting more used to makeup and our ways change, it seems that we've now developed that our brows have to be perfect. I'm not saying at all that if you're starting out in makeup you should go for the brow, because I'm still learning how to do my brows. My brows are completely not how I would have liked them or how they are Instagrammable, but I feel like they're right for me at the moment. But you know, I've been doing my eyebrows for like 3 or 4 years now, and I'm still learning, I'm still trying to get it right. So I definitely wouldn't recommend, if you are starting out in makeup, to go straight onto this kind of browage, because it takes a lot of time, and I think when you're beginning, it's just too much of a hassle. But if you do want to do that kind of brow taming, I would highly recommend the Sleek Brow Gel. Now, it's just a black tube, but it's a mascarable pigmented product, so you just brush it through your brows and you've got colour and you've got them laying flat, and they are so much more controlled, especially if you're new to brows. They do a clear version, and they do a lighter version and a darker version than this. This one's the light brown, so I believe they do a blonde and they do a dark brown. They might do a black, but I know they do a clear as well, or the last time I got one they did a clear, and it's just so handy to have, especially if you want to do kind of brows in general and you're starting out with brows. This one would be a good one. Now on to my contouring, highlighting, blush, and it's all from the same palette, and it's the Sleek Faceform Contouring and Blush Palette. Now this is in the shade Light 373, so it just looks like this. Beautiful packaging, comes with a big mirror and my contour, blush and highlight. Now these are perfect, these Faceform palettes are perfect for first time users in contouring, highlighting and blushing, and they're great as a starter kit because you've got basically everything in one palette, great for travel, and it's one price for all three. And I have not hit pan, and I've had this for ages. Literally when I got into contouring, this was my palette of choice. I did use the Bourjois chocolate bronzer, but compared to having something like this, which I believe is nearly the same price or maybe a little bit more, it's so much more easier and convenient. Now this palette, I believe the light palette is one of the cult favourites because of the blush, because this is the Rose Gold blush from Sleek, which is very pigmented, very golden. I don't know if you can see the sheen, and it's absolutely beautiful. They do different ranges, so I believe they do a medium and a dark, but I absolutely love this one, especially if you're new, and even if you just want to travel with it, it's perfect. It's affordable, and like I said, have not hit pan, had it for ages, and the highlight is really nice and subtle, and the contour is great for light skin tones. Obviously if you want a darker contour, it's probably not the best, but as a starter kit, just to get you used to it, it's great. Next, the eyes. Now for my starter kit, I wouldn't go, oh, you need this because it's amazing, like a palette on a palette on a palette, you know. I would recommend loads of Sleek palettes if you really want to do that kind of thing, but I think as a starter kit it's pretty basic for me anyway, and it's kind of an everyday thing, so I would recommend a cream shadow. So I'm loving, and I would definitely highly recommend these, the Maybelline Colour Tattoo 24 Hours, and this is the shade On and On Bronze. Now these are perfect. One, they give off a load of pigment, shimmer and colour. You can get matte ones, but I don't actually like the matte version. Very pigmented, very sheeny, shimmery, glide on onto the lid, easily blendable, and they dry and last a long time, which is perfect. Especially like when you're new to makeup, because you don't want something that like rubs off or takes too much time to do. So I'd highly recommend these little cream pots. Liner, if you want to do some lining, I wouldn't recommend like doing the cat wing liner as a beginner, purely because it takes some time. I mean, you can, but I wouldn't recommend it as like your most definite thing you're going to be doing. But you can colour your tight line and waterline if you want to, but I just prefer to do my tight line. And it's the Maybelline Master Drama Kohl pencil in black. Now this is super pigmented, super black, super creamy, easily glides on, doesn't need much effort, just literally done. So I would highly recommend that guy. Mascara, now this is one of my favourites. I feel that most of my favourite drugstore ones are a little bit pricey, but this one is really affordable. And this is the Maybelline Lash Sensational Lash Multiplying Mascara. I love this guy. Firstly, the packaging is amazing, but I feel like it makes my lashes longer and nearly fuller, not quite, but it really makes my eyelashes look longer, and I absolutely love this. If you are wanting to spend a little bit more money from the drugstore and you want long lashes, I would recommend the 3D Photo Ready mascara, because that really does make your lashes long. But this one is a great alternative, and I absolutely love this guy. Finally, onto the lips. Now, I would recommend anything from the drugstore. I wouldn't go for glosses personally, because I don't like the tackiness of them. I feel that liquid lipsticks are a little bit more advanced, especially if you're beginning, and they can be really tricky, as I found out today as I'm trialing some liquid lipsticks to review, but we won't go into that. But I would recommend spending a little bit more money, and I believe they usually have like 2-for-1 offers, is the Revlon Ultra HD lipsticks, and this shade is Rose. Now this is a beautiful nude shade. As you can see, I've used this a ton. There's little dents in it, and they smell amazing. They're almost like fruity. These are great lipsticks. Firstly, they do have pigmentation, but it's almost like a, not quite a sheen. I would compare this to cream sheens from MAC, though obviously they don't smell vanilla-y, and they aren't as drying, so they still have that creaminess to them. They are amazing. You do have to reapply them a couple of times, but for a beginner, these are great, and they come in a variety of shades. But for like a newbie, I would definitely recommend a nude, because like I think sometimes if you go straight for the bold, it can look a bit dodgy, because you're still getting used to it. But I definitely would recommend these lipsticks because they're amazing, and especially this shade in Rose. So that is all of my recommendations or drugstore beginner kit. Again, this is what I would recommend to myself, especially my younger self. I'm not saying that everyone should have this as their beginner kit, because not everyone would. Some people go straight into high end, but it's just my preference and what I would recommend, especially for beginners. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Give it a thumbs up if you did, subscribe if you're not, and leave a comment down below what you thought, and I'll see you in my next video. Bye!